Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Schedule 1. Schedule 1 is a hit indie game by developer TVGS or Tyler's Video Game Studio. It is still in early access but has received both praise and criticism alike. So let's take a look at what it has to offer and see for ourselves, starting first by going over the gameplay. The gameplay of Schedule 1 boils down to being all about inventory and time management. Put simply, you are making drugs and scheduling deals with clients while evading authorities and developing your business. You'll start with marijuana and eventually delve into deeper drugs as well. The goal is to keep expanding your business, as it is your character's way of making money. You are kept busy maintaining the conditions needed for success, such as keeping soil at the ready and watered, or even just simply taking out the trash. And the authorities are always on the lookout for any shady business. They make their patrol rounds, and if they see you dealing, they will attempt to apprehend you. There is also a curfew, which if you are seen during, they will stop you. Overall, the gameplay is straightforward and simple, but keeps you busy and hits the right satisfaction levels when you finally deliver your product to clients. So what's the story here? You play as an up-and-coming drug dealer. At the start of the game, you almost get caught by a police raid, but manage to make it out of town and over to Highland Point. Your Uncle Nelson is left behind, and he gets put in jail, left to periodically call you and guide you through business expansion. From there, you are tasked to expand your business while evading the authorities and any threats from rival drug cartels. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
All right, time to relive Breaking Bad all over again, and this time we get to be part of it.
Hey, before we hold on, Henrik. Before we even begin, should we really be having this conversation on air, or should we be listening to Uncle Nelson and be going directly to the payphone? Keep it there, right?
Yeah. Let me go outside of the payphone that doesn't exist anymore, Chris.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but you know the gameplay. It's very much just all the little tasks you gotta do. You know, you gotta put the drugs in the bag. You gotta seal up the bag, put it in the hopper. All that, plus all the other things of like taking out the trash, nipping the little bits of buds off the plants.
Yeah, keep environmentally
all
friendly.
The little,
you know.
Yeah, exactly. All the little like small steps to get to the point of actually doing the deals. So my question to you, Chris, is this actually satisfying, or is it just tedious?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of really hard choices to make. You know, do I want to affect the environment by, you know, blowing gas emissions with my car? Or should I just ride around, you know, on a skateboard and do my thing with Schedule 1? I mean, this game might sound like your dentist's least favorite paperwork, but it's, you know, actually a one-way ticket to becoming the digital love child of Tony Montana. And like Henrik the Wreck just said, Walter White. I mean, Breaking Bad, you know, you fans out there are going to love this kind of style of game. I mean, it's not like your normal, like, you know, open world simulator, right? You start off in Highland Point, which I would say is like a very grungy West Coast city that I can only imagine smells like vape juice and broken dreams. You've got no money, no product, no friends, and somehow you're one bad hoodie away from becoming the next cartel CEO, Henrik.
Yeah, and that city somehow ends up being like the perfect place for you to just expand your business, because turns out pretty much everyone in this town does drugs of some sort.
Yeah, no, it's
you just
so
have to
true.
offer them a sample, and then they'll be willing to, you know, buy some later if they need to.
Because this game doesn't take itself seriously, right? I mean, it's goofy, it's crime-sprinkled sandbox where you're not saving the world, you're chemically reprogramming it. I mean, 1 minute you're growing weed, the next you're laundering money at the laundromat, and all while you're skating around town like Jesse Pinkman with the felony record. I mean, those kind of games where you know, you definitely do feel the edge, like, really, really quickly, you know, especially within, like, the first 30 minutes of gameplay. I would say, Henrik, you know, the cops, man, they're really on your ass. You know, there are definitely repercussions to living this, you know, crime-ridden lifestyle.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, once you start to get, like, a way to fight back against them, man, you can just take a bat out and whack them and then run away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the game is like, all right, you're just going to do that? Okay, sure.
Yeah. It doesn't take it so seriously. It's not like trying to be like a power washer, right? Henrik, it's the car mechanic.
It is a simulator, but not like trying to be a realistic simulator.
Yeah, or like something like that's educational. By all means, it's not. But this game
Yeah.
doesn't dry up like bud left out in the sun. It's dope. It's refreshing. It's breathing new life into indie game created by one developer. By the way, I
Hmm.
think that is really very much a thing to highlight within this game.
Yeah.
And Henrik, how would you like describe this gameplay? I feel like it's like a mix of GTA for degenerates and Roller Coaster Tycoon if rides were Coke Labs and a splash of co-op chaos, which really adds to the fun if you want to, flesh out that full-blown cartel.
No, yeah, I mean that does do a pretty good job of actually explaining it because you really have the one side of the gameplay where it's just wacky moments and evading the cops, maybe beating up some people, pickpocketing some people, typical GTA stuff.
Fart in your
But
face.
yeah, exactly. But then on the other hand, you have the actual like business side of things where you are managing your drug empire and you can get really in depth with that to the point of like
Yeah.
planning out, okay, I have all these deals that I'm making and I'm going to schedule them out. I can run over to this side of the town, do this deal, and then in like another few minutes I can make it to this deal. It gets very complex very quickly, but at the same time, it's not the kind of game that forces you to go to that route. You can actually just keep it pretty simple and still have fun.
Yeah.
It's pretty flexible in that respect.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying because I feel like that supply and demand loop is strangely comforting, right? I mean, you get the
Yeah.
harvest, you craft, deliver, profit, repeat, and then you wake up the next day, So you're going to be having to mix the right recipe, and then suddenly your drugs could give people super speed, and then mix the wrong one, and then people explode. And it's not a
Yeah.
bug in the game, it's a business risk. And I think that's what makes it so much fun, whether you're pushing meth, coke, or whatever nightmare potion you just cooked up in the back of a bodega. I mean, one thing's clear. I mean, this game is dangerously fun. It's like Scarface meets Half Baked with just a pinch of Pineapple Express energy.
Yeah, and it's only still in early access, so
Yeah.
there's plenty of stuff that will be coming out in the roadmap. I'm sure the developer wasn't necessarily expecting the amount of success that he got.
Yeah, for
So
real.
he was, kind of has a bit more on his plate now that he has a bit of an expectation to fulfill.
Yeah.
But it seems like he has a good idea of where to take the game. Like, you do get a threat from a rival cartel, and there isn't
Yeah.
really much of a interaction beyond the threat, and that is something on the roadmap. Is there will
Or even
eventually
just
be
expanding,
an actual
Uncle
threat?
Nelson's story. You're right. Yeah,
Or
that
yeah,
too.
that too. Yeah, because
You
that
know,
is the thing. The story is not super like fleshed out. So
yeah.
don't go into this game thinking you're gonna get like an Elden Ring level of storytelling. It's not at that point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it probably will never
Very
be
true.
honestly at that point, but
Nah.
they can flesh it out a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would like to see it fleshed out a little bit more, just because I think the quirkiness will like keep the single player experience alive. I think the co-op is a lot of fun. I know a lot of from even my own friend even telling me, he's like, listen, look, I think it's a lot of fun, but like even when you start a co-op experience, sometimes you wish you can continue that journey even if he can't jump on at the same time with you. So
Mm.
maybe that's something they can fix, in a later update in the future. But, just the fact that you can, screw around, Henrik, and like mix OG Kush with mouthwash to make purple cheese. And then you mix the purple cheese with Viagra to receive, stinky fuel, or mix the
It's
purple cheese with
diabolical.
banana to, receive a California rhino. And all these like stupid things come with trial and error. And a lot of like, what the hell am I doing? Which I think that's why Schedule 1 works so well, because it builds up that curiosity as you approach each day. It's it's like it's got all that silly stuff. You can gamble, you're learning how to micromanage, like you said, there's a great crafting system, harvesting elements, your mixing stations. It's definitely got a lot of quirkiness all along this
Yeah,
game.
yeah, and that co-op mode does actually make it just even more fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
there is the
and running
downside.
from the
You can't.
police.
Yeah, and there is the downside. You can't, continue it unless both of you are there. But uh, at the same time, I can commend there being a co-op mode in the first place. That's not always going to be expected from a game like this.
No, I
So,
think that's why this game works even better because like my buddy joined my empire and then with like 30 minutes, the cops were down, we had to hide, in dumpsters, and then somehow, we had to replace the wheat crop and then something started glowing green. There's always a bunch of weird things that were like never planned out but just kind of
yeah.
happen, and I think that's why this game is a bit refreshing, and it doesn't have to have like this like crazy like NPC format. Maybe some people are expecting with like Oblivion remastered, like it's going to be completely revamped, especially when you keep it kind of not so polished in the end, kind of gives it that, pizzazz that maybe it needs. But I don't know, Henrik. I just feel like, say hello to your new favorite fix. I feel like it's a repeat, even when it's in early access. How about yourself?
Yeah, this is a definite repeat. This is something that I am going to be keeping my eye on, especially when more updates come out, because it's great already, and it can only get better from here, right? So,
Yeah, for 20
yeah,
bucks. And I highly prefer, I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I think it runs a little bit better on the PC, play-wise.
I
Yeah,
could
you
see
can play
that.
it on the
Yeah,
console, but on the PC, it's just a little bit of a different experience. I think it's a little bit more, user friendly. But then again,
Mhm.
hey, you the gamers, let us know what's good. Are you vibing with Schedule One? Do you think it's a repeat for endless fun, or is it a pause to be like, you know what, I had my days in Highland Point. I'm out of here. Let us know what's good.